This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Oh, hello.
Well, let's get back to it.
Next year is set to be a worrying milestone in climate history, according to the meteorological... Oh, no. The Meteorological Institute. Yeah. The Meteorological Office predictions state that 2024 may be the first year in human history, as in ever, to exceed the 1.50 degrees centigrade warming limit. This limit was laid down in the Paris Agreement. They laid it down. And it's believed to be the point at which climate change may become irreversible. Hang on, I'm going to cough. That's better. But as the Meteorological Office Oh, never mind. Have you heard the limit was laid down in the Paris Agreement? It's believed to be the point at which the climate change may become irreversible. The Meteorological Office have stated that next year may be the first year in human history to exceed that warming limit. But as they are just experts in possession of facts, nobody was remotely interested in anything they had to say. Even as 2023 is said to become the hottest year yet, 2024 is already forecast to smash that record. The Met Office says that climate change, coupled with a significant El Niño event, has contributed to the sweltering temperatures. Science says we expect 2 new global temperature record-breaking years in succession. For the first time, we are forecasting a reasonable chance of a year temporarily exceeding 1.5 degrees C. Back in 2015, countries agreed to stop global temperature rising beyond 1.5 degrees centigrade, as this is the point at which climate starts to become dangerously unstable. At which point, the Conservative Party will elect a leader that is dangerously unstable.
Absolutely.
The Met Office's Professor Adam said, in addition to the El Niño event, we have an anomalous high temperature in North Atlantic and Southern Ocean, and together with climate change, these factors account for the new global temperature extremes. But climate change is still the most important factor, he said. This year, the hottest November in history, the 5th such record-breaking month in a row. And still people say, no, just weather. The Met Office says that 2023 is almost certain to have been the hottest year ever. In unconnected news, a recent study found that emissions from burning fossil fuels reached a record high in 2023. Coincidence? In other news, dozens of elephants have died of thirst in Zimbabwe's popular Hwange National Park, and conservationists fear losing more as drought caused by climate change and the El Niño global weather pattern dries up watering holes. Harrowing images showed the exhausted carcasses of elephants lying on the ground, dried out in the sun on hard soil. There's 45,000 elephants in Hwange, and the adults each require 53 gallons of water a day. But they haven't got any. Water sources are dwindling. Solar-powered pumps at the 104 boreholes have not been able to draw enough water, and they need those boreholes because the surface water has evaporated because of the drought. Poor cows. Meanwhile, the Panama Canal is suffering its worst ever drought that's caused water levels at the canal to be the lowest seen at this time of the year in a century. Panama's dry season has come early this year, with forecasts suggesting there will not be much rain in the coming weeks. So if you're waiting for a thing on a boat, it's going to be a long, long time. Congestion in the canal could have a wider impact across the global supply chain. The cost of food and energy prices could rise because grain and fuels were among other major supplies transported through the canal, which are now experiencing delays. But, you know, who needs food and fuel when you can eat coal and drink oil? And anyone who says otherwise is a loony, eco-commie, activist zealot.
Correct.
And in this country, well, not a drought, really, more the opposite of that. More rainfall is on the way across Britain this weekend, after heavy flooding hit parts of the country on Thursday, as a tiny amount of rain blocked the drains because instead of improving the infrastructure, the water companies have taken all the money that we have been forced to give them by law and awarded it to their shareholders and executives for excellence in being them. Conditions are going to worsen into Saturday as rain creeps up the country into the north of England and southern Scotland. Well, southwest Scotland, I bet. I can check on that while you wait. One moment, please. Oh, I haven't got it. I've got the weather for Los Angeles. Do you want to hear the weather for Los Angeles?
No.
No, blimey. It's sunny every single day. Every single day. Sunny and about 25 degrees. God, blimey. Well, I haven't got it. I mean, I could spend time here. Do I want a daily notification of my weather? No, I don't. Stop asking me stuff like that, crying out loud. They're just asking you questions all the time. Glasgow. Right. Oh, blimey. Well, it's raining very heavily at the moment in Glasgow. And it will continue to do so tomorrow and on Sunday and on Monday and on Tuesday and not raining on Wednesday. Pfft, rubbish. Raining on Thursday and raining on Friday and raining on Saturday and raining next Sunday and raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and every day for the rest of your lives. So more rainfall on the way across Britain. Conditions will worsen into Saturday. Sunday will also see unsettled weather with bands of rain sweeping north and east across much of the country, paired with high winds and gales. Blimey. It came after Thursday's torrents saw schools opening or closing late, with horse racing events being called off because of rain. Oh, come on. Parts of Devon and Cornwall are left underwater, with a number of roads being forced to close following what is described as an onslaught of showers. An onslaught of showers? That's like a boxer being knocked out because of an onslaught of taps. Onslaught of showers. The Met has warned that journey times are likely to be made longer due to the spray and flooding on the roads, while buses and train services will probably be affected. But as they are always affected by something or other, regardless of the weather, you won't notice the difference. RAC breakdown spokesmodel Simon urged drivers to be wary of flooded roads. He said anyone attempting to drive through water that is too deep for their vehicle is risking their safety. He said the best advice is to turn your car stereo up really loud and turn on your fog lights and recline your seat to horizontal, because this makes you look cool when you are undertaking at 50 in a 20 zone. Of course, if you are in an Audi, you will already be doing this.
Thank you.
Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks? I'll take that as a no. Next 2 weeks till the 22nd of December. Showers, rain, becoming more settled later in the week. Then clearer spells in the south, fog and frost overnight. And then Christmas, up to the first week of the new year. You ready? Bands of rain with brighter conditions in between. Conditions are likely to remain generally mild. Conditions are more likely to remain generally mild? We'll take it. 0345 6060 973. Here is a suspiciously keen caller in Venice. Armin. Armin. Too late. He's trying to get to us on a gondola. Stu texts, Nick, Fishy says there is only an inch between him and other people. Who's he kidding? I've seen him in pictures with other people, and there's a huge difference. I thought he was good at maths. You're good with numbers. Why don't you give him a lesson? Sure, why not?
And 1, 2,
Very good,
11.
No. Mick says, regarding Bodger's appearance to the COVID inquiry, I think the most challenging thing that he had to say was his opening line, in which he said, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Liar!
Yeah, and the book burst into flames. More proof that there is no such thing as God. Kerry says, in regards to stocking up on candles, I have a suspicion that someone in the Tory party has shares in wax and candle making. Not that I'm cynical or anything. Well, I hadn't thought about that, Kerry, but you're probably completely correct in every respect. Should we start there? God, there's so much to talk about. I can barely contemplate beginning. Well, let's start at the very beginning. The Deputy Prime Minister has said that Britons should stock up on torches and battery-powered radios and candles to prepare for the inevitable power cuts or cyber attacks, which this regime will do nothing to stop. He didn't say that. He said he is announcing plans for a National Resilience Academy. Is there a Minister for Resilience now? Alongside the Minister for Common Sense and the Minister for Brexit Opportunities? A post now sadly defunct because there aren't any? A smug.
I don't know anything.
Still doesn't know anything. And can you recall the name of the Deputy Prime Minister? Anyone? Anyone at all? No, the wrong one. There you go. Anyone at all? No one? Too late. Oliver Dowden. I don't know what you're thinking. Who? But don't be hard on yourself. It's not a position of responsibility or seriousness. I mean, in this past year, it's been Dominic Raab, then Therese Coffin, then Dominic Raab again. Because if you didn't achieve much first time round, try again.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
I totally believe you. This week's Deputy Prime Minister, Oliver Dowden, suggested that people stock up on analogue supplies, including but not limited to first aid kits and torches, in order to prepare for communication breakdown. You know, like Led Zeppelin.
Rock and roll!
Vote for the party that will send you back to the Stone Age. Vote Conservative. On a visit to Porton Down, the UK's military laboratory, he said it makes sense to retain analogue capabilities in a digital age. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with the current Deputy Prime Minister.
What?
I mean, let's just put aside that the regime has done nothing to protect us from any threat of any kind, up to and including the most invisible ones, Abbot.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And the security of our energy supply is based on us crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. But we should be prepared for the modern age to go kaput, because if it's run by electricity and it's got a computer chip in it, it's bound to go on the fritz eventually, and that could terminate the lot of us.
Correct.
This week's Deputy Prime Minister, Oliver Dowden, outlined plans to launch a National Resilience Academy to help people and businesses prepare for future pandemics, natural disasters and digital communication blackouts, because the government certainly won't be. No danger of any lessons learned there, eh, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Can't comment on that. Blah, blah, blah. Dowden cites Russia's invasion of Ukraine, cyber attacks, pandemics, the misuse of artificial intelligence and extreme weather among some of the risks the UK faces. They're like forthcoming attractions. You know, as long as we can survive to the next general election, that is. Businesses are going to be offered training to deal with the impact of such threats, while a new website will provide the public with practical advice on how to be prepared for future attacks. And I know this is nitpicking, but we don't have a great history of being prepared well in advance in this country, do we? We wing it and deal with whatever dangers we face at the last minute. So, in the event of, let's say, the electricity going down or the internet falling over, can anyone think of a reason why putting instructions on the internet might not be the best plan? Mr. Dowden made the announcement as part of his first annual Risk and Resilience Statement, which I have in full, and it reads... Yeah, it's just one page. It says...
Emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street.
A Labour frontbencher, Pat McFadden, welcomed the measures but asked what the government is doing to bolster resilience in energy supplies and the public estate, as well as in elections. He said, and how will the government increase resilience in the public estate? Schools. Capital budgets cut back under this Prime Minister's watch while he was Chancellor. School roofs falling in, disrupting children's education. He also pressed ministers to implement recommendations of Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee aimed at preventing Russia and other states from interfering in upcoming elections. But he need not worry. As long as they interfere on behalf of the conservative friends of Russia, the government doesn't really have a problem with that. And anyone who suggests otherwise is an enemy of the state, and perhaps they'd like to go and live somewhere else if they hate their country so much.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Some nobody.
Dave texts, I had to take my daughter to A&E the other day and there was a 5-hour wait to see anybody. Blimey. We had tried to see our GP, but that's not possible anymore. No, the GP is out. Sorry about that. Your call is important to us. How many times have I heard that this week? Your call is important to us. Liar! No, it isn't. And you wait for 2 hours on the phone, and then they say, I'm sorry, we can't take any calls at this moment. Please try again later. And you think, oh. How difficult is it just to call up and not be put in a line which may or may not ever be answered, and you're sitting there and you listen to that infuriating music, like that for about 2 hours straight, and you don't know that if you're actually in a line or not, do you? You've got no idea whether they know that you're calling or you've just been lost in some electronic void. So you're just waiting because you've invested so much time in waiting. And the longer you wait, the more you've invested. So the more likely you are to just keep waiting. Because if you slam the phone down in fury and pick it up and throw it out the window, then that's not going to help you. You just wasted 2 hours of your life that you'll never get back. But the amount of times they say, you know, you are number 4 in the queue. Which gives you hope. But that hope is not the truth. They're lying about that. And then you get to number 1 and they say, we can no longer take any of your calls. Please try again later. Oh, my God. How hard is it just to say, we have your number, we'll call you back when your number comes up? I've had that about once in my life as an option. If you would prefer not to wait, then press 1 and we'll call you back. I mean, how easy is that? But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Anyway, Dave says, I had to take my daughter to A&E the other day and there was a 5-hour wait to see anybody. We had tried to see our GP, but that's not possible anymore. The NHS is totally and utterly broken. The Tories have systematically destroyed what was once the most envied health service in Europe. Never mind about in Europe, Dave. In the world. Yes, they have taken the world's top-rated health service and turned it into the catastrophe that we see today. And it only took them 13 years.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's about the only thing that they've been very, very successful in doing. They affected that change at top speed. They got their most brilliant minds working on that one. Steve says, is there any chance you would be able to release your next A to Z in an audio format? No. I know that would probably be difficult, but as a blind person, I'd like to be able to read them too. Well, can't you get... there must be some sort of text reading device. There must be. No, I'm not going to sit there and go, just read the list. I can't. I don't want to. You can't make me. 0345 6060 973. Crayford, hello, Terry.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Terry.
I don't know if you'll think it's an early Christmas present.
But?
What do you think about this huge investor pulling out of Somerset Capital?
Somerset Capital, which is partly owned by Jacob Smug.
I don't know anything.
Yes, it looks as though Somerset Capital management is going to be wound down. How do I feel about that? Just terrible.
Oh, I'm glad you feel the same as me.
Yes. Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to see Suella Braverman take his tent away.
Oh, well, it's given us something to smile about.
I suppose, yeah. That's all we got left, yeah. Little crumbs. All right, thanks a lot, Terry. Cheers, my dear. Somerset Capital Management, the investment firm co-founded by Smug, has said it will be wound down days after it emerged it's lost 2/3 of its assets and its largest client. Now, I've seen Jacob Rees-Mogg in Silhouette, and there's a man who can't afford to lose any of his assets. The firm said on Thursday that it would be closing its London business, which manages funds on behalf of institutional clients, such as asset managers and pension funds, and that it was in advanced talks to transfer the remainder of its top-performing funds to a new investment advisor, somebody who knows about money. It is unclear whether Smug, who co-founded the fund in 2007, remains a minority shareholder, whether he will have effectively made a loss on his stake as a result. Oh, fingers crossed, eh? He is reported to have pocketed at least £7.5 million in dividends from Somerset since the EU referendum in 2016, including £500,000 last year and 15 grand a month from the firm on top of his MP's pay until 2019, when he became a minister under Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
His stake in Somerset is not public. Why not? But it's believed to have been about 12%. Yeah, I think that we had better hold off on the bunting just yet, because I don't know what the situation is with that particular organisation, but when people manage funds, in the lean times they get paid, and in the times of much happiness they also get paid. It's the dopes who gave them the money to manage that lose out, but the people who are the managers, they always get paid. So, I would expect not to read the tales of his demise anytime soon. I'm glad to report. I'm sure you're happy to hear that. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike. Mike. Oh, hang on. Wrong one. Yes, there you are.
Hiya. Yeah, just a little add-on to that Somerset Capital story. One of the co-founders of Somerset Capital, a certain guy called Dominic Johnson, no relation to Blobby, so he was managing this until recently. Sunak has appointed him as Minister of State for Business. Talk about jobs for the boys.
Oh, my God.
It's unbelievable.
No, Mike, it is not unbelievable. It is entirely believable. What an absolute I mean, what a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I can't believe it.
I mean, how they can do that, I don't know. But anyway, just going on to the bloody Rwanda treaty thing.
Yeah.
When you read the treaty, what we actually agreed to pay for is neutral international judges and lawyers to oversee the asylum process, and neutral international monitors to oversee the whole process, the housing and everything else. So when Cleverly was asked, are we paying Rwanda? He said, no, Rwanda have not asked for any money and we're not paying Rwanda. No, we're not. We're paying all these neutral international judges and lawyers directly. It's going to cost millions.
Well, it's already cost millions. It's cost so far something like £200 million. And the only people who have gone there are various Home Secretaries.
And we haven't started paying for the other, because the deal, apparently, I understand, is we don't start paying for all these other experts until we actually send anybody.
And Rwanda are apparently okay with us infiltrating their own government and their legal system in order to do what we want in their country. I mean, how does that sound to your average patriot?
Well, it's madness, but also we're kowtowing to them because they say if you come out the ECHR, we aren't doing the deal anyway.
Yeah.
We're sovereignty, you call it.
And on top of all that, they're sending us approximately the same number of people as we are sending them. So what's the point?
I mean, it really is through the looking glass. We're getting to the stage now that if all the facts come out, I can't believe the public will run with it. I really can't.
It just
Not that
seems...
many are doing it.
No, that's true. It just seems so obviously desperate that it has absolutely nothing to do with what they're saying, but it's just them unable to think of anything else positive to tell the people about their rule over the past 13 years. They just can't think of anything, and so they seem to be stuck on this. Like one of those magical hoovers, vacuum cleaners, that motivate themselves around your room and get stuck in a corner because they can't turn around.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, Cummings is on record as saying that the Rwanda thing was first thought of as a distraction to get Johnson out of the problem. It was never meant to happen. And they thought have got obsessed with it.
Yeah, well, I think they've got obsessed with it because they can't think of anything else to say.
Shut up and go away.
Yeah, exactly right, yes. Well said, Mike. Thanks a lot, mate. Would you like to be Defence Secretary? Can you start first thing on Monday morning?
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
Phil texts, the impression I got from watching Johnson was that he had been well rehearsed by his legal team. Really? And that anything he didn't like, he simply refused to accept. Oh, that's true. Ultimately, a pretty frustrating and insignificant exercise, says Phil. Insignificant exercise? What, like when Bodger gets driven in a government vehicle up to the building that he's going in, and then he emerges in jogging gear and pretends he's run there? That kind of insignificant exercise. No, I think it was significant because it reminded us of who he is. Because you tend to forget. And that's the beauty of his act. That old, that thing that he does. And his hair was mussed up so perfectly, wasn't it? Perfectly imperfect. He's doing a Donald Trump. I mean, it's both his logo and it covers up a certain barren wasteland underneath all that candy floss mop. But, I mean, just the very fact that at the end there he praised Dido Harding.
What?
Yeah, for all the hard work that she'd done. Well, it takes a massive amount of effort to make all of that money disappear. It's like a magic trick. And he claimed that the NHS was not overwhelmed. What? The nerve of that guy, unbelievable. Al texts, in Yes Minister, Sir Humphrey described the Telegraph readers as thinking that our country was being run by another country. Now we find out that they may be right. The Telegraph may soon be financed by the UAE, best friends of Putin. Rootin' tootin'. We're doomed, says Al. Well, as long as they have the cartoon on the front page and the crossword on the back page, I really don't mind what's in the middle because I just don't read it. That's all you need to concern yourself with the Telegraph is the cartoon on the front page and the crossword on the back page. 0345 6060 973. San Francisco. Hello, Mike.
Hello. I have what I think is $1 billion idea because I don't think anybody's thought of it, but I'm quite serious about it. And it being the holiday season, I wanted to give it away to you and everybody on your show.
Lay it on us, baby.
Somebody may have thought of it. You call one of these places and the robot answers the phone and it says, thank you for your call. We can't get to you now, and it's going to be a while, and you're going to have to listen to music. Mm-hmm. And here are your choices. Press 1 for heavy metal. Press 2 for classical. Press 3 for salsa. Press 4 for reggae. Press 5 for jazz. And I think that's $1 billion idea, and I've just never heard any. I think it would be relatively easy to set up, but it would take some of the sting out of having to wait online or for somebody to answer your call.
Yeah,
now,
that's not a bad idea. You could also make it some sort of game, like a Wordle on the phone, in order to make the time pass by and keep you interested.
That. Yes, or something like that. But I just if you don't want to hear the girl from Ipanema,
Yeah.
I can't talk either today. Ipanema over and over again. Yes.
Then pick the techno channel. Yeah. Like games, like I'm holding in my hand something beginning with P. Any ideas? Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. I think that the best solution to that waiting on the phone until your call is answered thing is we have logged your number because they know who you are. They know what your number is because it flashes up on a little screen. And they say, we will call you back when an operative becomes available. And then now you can hang up and go about your daily life. What's so hard about that? 0345 6060 973. Adam texts, it's been an awful week, it's been an awful month, and let's be honest, it's been an awful year, but it's going to be better. It has to be. Not much more to say, but at least Bojo has shown what a dingbat he is. Sorry, not sorry. Boing, boing, blah, blah, etc., says Adam. who was either lost his mind right at the end there, or he was implying that that's what Bodger sounds like. Oh! This is absolute nonsense. Oh! He just bridles at the impertinence of being questioned. That's who he is. Just remember that's who he is, because the instant that he left office, he was busy mussing up his hair just so and presenting himself again as a cuddly teddy bear. That's not who he is. Don't forget, Bodger Johnson.
The great big greedy nincompoop.
Precisely right. Chris says, I've been listening to your show for a while, but no one ever seems to call from Glasgow. Does it still exist? Loads of people call from Glasgow on this show. Obsessed with this show are people in Glasgow. Here's a call in Glasgow right now. Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Jeff.
Well, Bodger, he actually gave evidence to the questions from the Welsh representative solicitor because it's part of the inquiry. And he gave an answer which is quite breathtaking. He said that the Welsh had a higher infection rate than anybody else because of their obesity, and they're always singing.
Singing. Correct.
Which was quite something. I think that, just for your information, you know that Phosphofan closed as the largest coal mine in the UK officially on the 17th of November.
Right, which year?
And I passed the other day, there they were, breezily bringing coal out of there, crossing the road to create this mountain of coal, which was being loaded onto the railway trucks, which was trundling its way around South Wales to Port Talbot and the steelworks. So it's still up.
Still going.
How on earth, in this day and age, can you get away with that? Hey?
It's really quite amazing. I mean, do they not have TV news in the south of Wales? They must do. I would think that they'd be all over it like a rash. Why isn't anybody reporting this?
Well, it has been. It was reported when it closed.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you can actually, you can see the little trucks, not the big, the big yellow dumper ones.
Yes.
Carry 100 tons.
The custard colossi. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all lined up. If you ever come down and pass the place, they're all lined up, idle, parked up. That means that the big, huge job of moving all the material to get at the coal is now stopped. Yeah, I can see that. But they still potching about in there, producing coal. How much? I've no idea. But the total production in the 15 years that it's been operating is about 12 million tons of coal have come out of there.
Right.
So we're doing a bit for global warming.
Yes. Well, we appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, can you swim? That's the other most important question you have to think about right now. Armbands and a flotation device should be on your Christmas list, Jeff. All right, thanks a lot, mate. Keep your eyes peeled. Good grief. Martin says, Imperial Rishiness said about the Rwanda scheme, the difference is an inch. What's an inch, Grandad? I think he means 2.54 centimetres. No, he doesn't. Simon says, some things should be measured in inches, and what you give is one of those things. Don't give an inch. It just doesn't work metrically. Don't give 2.54 centimetres, or even 2 centimetres, or 1 centimetre. Don't give 1 centimetre. There's nothing poetic about that. Don't give an inch. There you are, you see. Proper British measurements. We don't need these foreign European surrender measurements coming over here and replacing His Majesty's feet in inches. Centimetres. What is that? No one knows. Simon says, reference climate change deniers. Living next to a stream, we get lots of ducks in the summer. But this is the first year ever that I have seen ducks en masse still in the garden in December. Well, what are they doing there? Apart from, eating and what comes next? Maybe they're confused. Marnie says, will the new resilience organisation provide advice on how to be prepared to deal with disastrous, ill-prepared, corrupt, lying Tory governments? I don't know. I think you've almost certainly got yourself on some sort of official list there, Marnie. I wouldn't try and leave the country anytime soon. 03, you might not be allowed back in. 0345 6060 9. How much do you earn? Less than 38,000? Uh-oh.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What are you talking about?
0345 6060 973. Sam says, why don't we just go and tell the climate to shut up and go away? Greg says, there was panic buying for the supplies in my local home base this week after Dowden's recommendations. With the weather turning milder, I was looking to do some gardening, but they were out of fork handles. Not fork handles. Fork handles. Tom text, what amazes me is how some people blame immigration for our problems, but don't look at the huge damage that the Tories have done to this country. Also, I'm getting so tired of the people who say it would have been worse under Corbyn. Well, they don't. They usually say, well, it would have been worse under Labour. Based on what exactly? Can you remember when the Labour Party were in last time and everything was better? I mean, literally everything was better under the previous Labour government. Name one thing that has been better since the Tories took over in 2010. Oh, don't let's start this again. I've been through this on multiple shows and never got and not one answer. Not one. Camberley, hello, Brian.
Oh, good evening, Nick. How are you?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for taking me on. And listen, just tell me when you've had enough and I'll shut up, all right?
Right.
All I want to do, Nick, just to fill you in, I'm a 62-year-old man. I've got mental health problems, worked hard all my life, etc., yeah?
Okay.
So many things I'd love to say, but obviously you've got pretty soon. First thing, I'm very, very, if you like, upset with LBC, because every show, every person like itself, the same subject, same. All the same questions, all the same answers, yeah?
It's called the news, Brian. What would you have us talk about?
Yeah, but how would you have to repeat the news, Nick?
You want us to invent new news just so as to avoid boredom in Camberley?
Nick, what?
You know you asked me to tell you when I'd had enough?
Oh, no, stop it. No, give me a chance, Nick. Give me a chance. Let me just finish here, please.
And in closing?
Right. I've got a different subject. I don't know if you know the A3 M25 roadworks that are going on there at the moment.
No, I do not. No, sadly not.
They're doing a massive extension from the A3 at Risley to go onto the M25, yeah?
Okay.
The reason I'm saying this is, especially Nick Ferrari, I thought you might... It's never, ever been mentioned.
You want us to mention roadworks? that's the topic that you would prefer rather than, what is exercising the country news-wise. You want to talk about the roadworks on the A3. Well, let me think about that, Brian.
No.
Yeah, it's a no from me. But I appreciate the call. Chelsea, Miriam. Oh, an ecstasy of fumbling. Hello, Miriam. Doing the dishes?
Hi. Good evening. I have a question.
Oh.
If a Rwandan man came over here by the dinghy, crossed the channel, and applied for refugee.
Mm-hmm. Small boat. Yeah.
What's going to happen to him?
What's going to happen to him?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He'll probably get stuck in a hotel somewhere for a couple of years while the government drags its feet and pretends that it's doing something while making a big performance out of being cruel to some poor individuals that are more desperate than you are.
I think they will take him back to his own country. If he doesn't have a house, they will put him in a hostel, proper hostel, I think.
Right.
I imagine. I don't know.
Okay, great call. That's two in a row. 2 in a row on the Nicky Abbott show. Is it my fault?
Yes.
I think it probably is. I take full responsibility, like Bodger Johnson.
Yeah. Wait.
Doesn't take any responsibility at all. Martin says, I think we need a minister for what is the actual point of the Conservative Party. This would exclude sadists, incompetents and the corrupt. It's never going to happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So there's war in the Tory party ranks. How absolutely delicious is this? They're pulling a Labour Party, the Tories, wrestling each other to the ground so that the other side can step nimbly over them and take the tape. About blooming time. Of course, the Labour Party are doing their best to try to self-immolate and, drag the leader down, screaming and shouting. But the Tories are making most of the noise at the moment. How absolutely delightful. I'll get to that in a minute. We may even be faced with another Prime Minister.
What?
Yeah. I think they're on about one a year. I think they've got a best before date stamped on them. Dom says, had to call the docks last week, 83 calls before I got in the queue, and then I was 76 in the queue. Wow. That is a system that's completely, totally and utterly broken, ain't it? I mean, by the time you get through, you'll either be cured or dead. Andy says, here's a fun fact for you. The GDP of Rwanda is £10 billion a year. This means that the $300 million that we've committed to pay them is 3% of their annual GDP. To put that into perspective, the UK pays 2% of our GDP on our entire defence budget. Yeah, there's a problem with that as well. We are, defence-wise, completely naked.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute as well. There's so much to talk about. 0345 6060 973. Belfast. Hello, Brendan.
Hello, Nick.
Brendan.
Sorry. Hello.
Yes, sir.
First thing, thanks to Don the Man for putting me through to you, and then you too for accepting it. I've just heard there while I was waiting to talk to you that Ryan O'Neill has died. Now, I don't know if you care about Ryan O'Neill, and I didn't know him personally, but he was involved in one of them films, Raleigh McGrath. What was it? Love Story, which was part of my sort of growing up movie type thing, you know. It stuck in my head. Anyway,
wasn't Ryan O'Neill in... wasn't he in the that black and white film about the last cinema show in town, or something like that? The Texas Last Cinema, or something like that, wasn't he?
I tell you the truth, I don't know. That's the answer. So,
well, I certainly am glad that you called.
Well, I've been watching Boris Johnson all day, so I'm getting used to answering questions.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that either, though I've watched every second of it. And, well, that's an hour. Law is one of my favourite subjects, and I've watched it with... I've enjoyed watching the Suggs.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of the guy who played the dude.
Yes, the stoner.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges is the right answer. Yeah, he was in The Last Picture House. And Ryan O'Neal was in Paper Moon.
With his daughter.
That's right.
Who's his daughter?
Good question. I can't remember.
See?
What is it?
I'm not telling you.
Wasn't it? Hang on a minute. Wasn't his daughter the one that played the young prostitute in Taxi Driver?
And she wasn't fostered?
Yes, Foster, exactly.
Right. Can I get to my subject now?
Well, now, wait a minute. We haven't talked about Love Story, which is a film about 2 hours long where people talk about their feelings. Oh.
It's a wonderful piece of cinematography.
Okay,
I let on. I don't even know what cinematography means, but it sounds as if you know about films.
He was in A Bridge Too Far, but then, on the other hand, so was everybody else. Did you ever see that film?
Yeah, I was in it.
You were in it. Like I said, everybody was in that film.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, can I move swiftly? No, not so swiftly. But here, thank you for talking to me, because you normally just listen. Interaction's always good. Here, can I get to my subject now?
I don't know. What is your subject?
Harmonicas.
You want a minute's worth of questions on the subject of harmonicas starting now?
No, I would just like to talk about it. I would just like to let you know my experience of harmonicas and what it means to me.
Right.
You know, because people just think I have a mouse who. No, I'm not even going to say that. That's a listener material. Okay, but can I tell you about the harmonicas?
Is there anything to tell apart from you suck and blow, and only Stevie Wonder has a unique sound on the harmonica? I don't know if that's true or not, but when Stevie Wonder plays the harmonica, you know it's Stevie Wonder, don't you? Yes. Yes, you do.
Okay,
yes, you do.
Well, I think the intro to Superstation is the best intro to any song in the whole history of the world.
What is Superstation?
Superstation, Stevie Wonder.
Oh, Superstition, right. I thought you said Superstation, and I was thinking, who did that? Boney M?
I know.
No, it can't be them.
No, it wouldn't be.
Superstition, right.
Rock and roll!
Yeah, well, I wouldn't disagree with that.
The intro and the bass riff and everything about...
But this isn't really your experience with the harmonica. This is more Stevie Wonder's experience with the harmonica.
But you mentioned Stevie Wonder. I didn't mention him.
I see. It's my fault.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for...
I hear music for the news.
Music? You're hearing music? What does it sound like?
It sounds like an intro to the news.
Oh, well...
and I haven't got 10 a word, and it's all your fault.
It is...
I'm not whining. Of course not.
Of course not.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
But it is my fault. I do accept full responsibility. Thanks a lot, Brendan, for whatever that was. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys.
I am not one of your fans!
Dave texts, my Conservative MP Christopher Chope has just sent me a survey asking my opinion on issues. It's the first time I've heard from him. I refuse to help him with his canvassing for the coming election. If he was really interested in his constituents' views, he would have asked these questions earlier in this parliamentary term, not so close to the next general election. Correct Amundo. That's right. Yeah, don't tell him what you want him to tell you? And, of course, the Tories are fighting with each other, which is just so delicious. I can't barely sit down. I'm so excited. The Tory civil war over the Rwanda scheme has deepened. Tichy Suitsize has warned that his Rwanda flights law provided channel migrants with easy ways to avoid deportation. Two senior lawyers told the Prime Minister... He's the Prime Minister of this country, can you believe that?
No.
Two senior lawyers told the Prime Minister that the hastily drawn-up plan still gave arrivals the ability to individually challenge their removal to Africa in the courts.
Oh, fabulous.
Good grief, I can't believe it. So the government has decided to ban courts and will henceforth decide all criminal cases itself, especially criminal cases that involve a member of the government. Protecting their own is their number one priority.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah, sure. Meanwhile, the Home Office revealed that the cost of the agreement with Rwanda will rise from the initial £140 million to £290 million by 2025, despite no migrants having yet left the UK. And you know what? If they say it's going to be £290 million by 2025, despite no migrants having left the UK, you can be absolutely certain that it will be twice that, which is, let's see now, 290 million. Double 290. That is easy enough. It's just mental arithmetic. Any idiot could do it. So double 290 is, double 2 is 4, and double 90 is 160. So that's 4,160. Blimey. This government's Rwanda pantomime is going to cost us £4,160 million, and we won't even send anyone there apart from a parade of ineffectual Home Secretaries for a fact-finding mission. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Yes, that is entirely believable. Sunak is facing anger from the right and the centre of the Conservatives over this new scheme, which is due to face its first vote in the Commons on Tuesday. Which isn't really accurate unless there's a left wing of the Conservative Party for balance. But if there's only a centre wing and a right wing, then that means there's a right wing and an even more right wing. I mean, there's nothing centrist about them. Tory groups dubbed the Five Families feel that it is either too tough or not tough enough, and they're threatening to support it, not to support it, rather. The Five Families. Sounds like an episode of The Sopranos, The Five Families. They're like the mafia in that they are responsible for many deaths, they're running an extortion racket, and they don't accept criticism. On the other hand, they dress worse, aren't very good at their jobs, and will not go to prison. They'll go to the House of Lords.
Absolutely.
Here's how bad it is on Planet Tory. There are reports that some backbenchers want the Prime Minister gone. Arrivederci Tichy. And that's despite the Tory chairman, Richard Holden, warning that replacing Sunak before a general election would be insanity, and they would never do anything insane, would they?
Absolutely.
Former Brexit Minister Lord Frost. He issued what has been seen as a coded message in the Telegraph, telling rebels that if they feel the current path doesn't lead to a win, they shouldn't be resigning themselves to it. They should be doing something about it. That's about as coded as a flying mallet. I mean, if that's supposed to be coded language, saying something without saying it, then I think he needs a refresher course. Do we have a copy of Diplomacy for Idiots we can spare? I'll pop one in the post.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's the same Lord Frost, by the way, the guy who looks like a melting candle, whose claim to fame and a career as a columnist for The Telegraph is based on his expertise in negotiating a Brexit deal that's so bad he spends most of his time criticising it as though he had nothing to do with it. Legal Migration Minister, not the illegal Migration Minister, the Legal Migration Minister, Tom Pursglove, was unable to offer a timetable for when the Rwanda legislation would get through Parliament. He said, But the government is determined to use up as much parliamentary time as necessary to get this important issue over the line so they can work on child poverty and the failing NHS and the collapsing drain system and the sewage in the rivers and the housing crisis and the falling standards of living. You know, that's later. First things first, small boats. I mean, getting a picture of a plane taking off with a few migrants inside on every front page with a tough-looking titchy suit size waving them off, that's their number one priority. So that Titchy can look tough in his tough skinny tie and his tough pointy shoes and his toughness. Mr. Speaker. Legal Migration Minister Tom Pursglove was touring breakfast studios today to defend the plan, a day after being appointed Minister for Legal Migration when Robert Jenrick's role was split into two following his resignation. Hey, we're still not missing you, Robert Jenrick, in case you're wondering. We're muddling along just fine. Legal Migration Minister Tom Pursglove insisted there was a unity of purpose on the Conservative benches in Parliament and that we need to address this issue of small boats carrying asylum seekers to UK shores. That's what he said. And the unity of purpose is such that the Tories can't think of a single thing that they have improved since taking power about 14 years ago, apart from their own bank balances and the bank balances of their closest donors. So they're stuck with flailing around at people on small boats, hoping to land a haymaker punch that will impress the nation enough to ignore all of the above. Legal Migration Minister Tom Pursglove defended the cost. He was mocked by Labour's Yvette Cooper as £100 million for every Home Secretary who has travelled to Rwanda for a photo opportunity. He said, I think it's right that we go about this in the way that we are. As though by saying the word right, that he has the ability to make us think up is down. You know, like a Jedi mind trick. Trouble is, Legal Migration Minister Tom Pursglove is not a Jedi. One small chink in his armour there. Sean says, I had the displeasure of sharing a flight to Belfast with Smug shortly before he became a minister. I was hoping he would be seated in the front row beside me. I normally have a small bottle of wine on the flight. Had he been beside me, I intended to order 3, specifically to accidentally on purpose spill all over him. I'm a nervous flyer, don't you know? Alas, they seated him 4 rows back among some very disgruntled people. Yeah, I can imagine. The type you have to sit beside on a commercial airline, eh?
Disgusting.
0345 6060 973. Let's have Cork. Derek.
Hello, finally.
Derek.
Okay, you were constantly saying, going on about, the government, they haven't done one thing successful. You forgot about the Windsor framework.
The Windsor framework?
Right. Yes, for Northern Ireland.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, that was one positive thing, because you were saying that not one thing no one can call, not one thing that the government, so that's one thing that the government has done.
How has it changed? How has it changed your life in a positive way?
It's not. I think that your crowd is, they're bad here, but they're actually worse over there, I think. And Trump as well. Hopefully he won't get back on, the government. But I'm just saying, just the positive, that's all. That was the reason why I called.
Right, so you're saying that the positive thing that they did was fixing the problem that they caused in the first place a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so we know where we are.
You're probably right, yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Derek. Better luck next time. I'm not totally sure whether that was pro or anti. I don't know whether he was being sarcastic or not. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he was. Dave says, some months ago, my wife hit a pothole in the road while cycling. We waited in A&E for 15 hours.
What?
15 hours. She had 2 broken fingers, a fractured wrist and a fractured arm. We were asked if we could go home and come back tomorrow. I said, it was Saturday when we arrived. Tomorrow will now be Monday. Wow. Well, it's a good job that the NHS wasn't overwhelmed, eh, Bodger?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And he actually had the nerve to say that out loud. The NHS was not overwhelmed during his leadership during the COVID nightmare. Never mind about during the COVID nightmare, it's overwhelmed now on a regular basis. It seems to be in a state of permanent overwhelmment. Look it up in the dictionary. Overwhelmment. I think you'll find that is correct. 0345 6060 973. North Carolina. Graham.
North Carolina. Hey, speaking of harmonica players,
yes.
I would have thought somebody from the UK would have brought up John Mayall. Never mind little Stevie Wonder.
John Mayall.
I mean,
I think he's bigger
John
in America, bigger in America than he is here.
Oh, Blues Breakers? I thought he was like ground zero for the blues in England.
John Mayall, right? Mayall.
John Mayall and the Blues Breakers.
Blues Breakers, right? No.
Wait, and eventually
Stevie Wonder all the way.
Come on. Oh, stop it!
Are you kidding me? Stevie Wonder was Stevie Wonder ran the 1970s in this country with or of modern music with David Bowie. It was Stevie Wonder. No, not in this country. I mean, in modern music, Stevie Wonder ran modern music. He was the king of modern music in the 1970s, along with David Bowie. Just those two.
Opinions are like something else. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, but but it's not an opinion, though, Graham. It's not an opinion, though. It's a fact.
Oh, well, that's like your weather reports on Fridays, Those are facts, too, right?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of immigration, we have, the other day it was reported that we had 10,000 a day crashing the border.
In America?
And unfortunately, yeah. And I'm surprised that your reporter from L.A., or what they call here Lower Alabama, didn't bring that up. But, and they were all male. No females in that group, or children, all military-age males.
By which you mean working age?
Well,
coming in to do all the jobs that Americans don't want to do and wouldn't get done if those people had not crossed the border to come and do them for you.
Yeah, same thing as in the UK, I guess, because you've talked about that before.
Exactly. Be careful what you wish for, Graham. You'll miss them when they're gone.
Well, my parents they bailed out of the UK in the 1920s, so, I'm first generation, so I get the whole immigration thing.
Right.
And they did much better for themselves than hanging around Birmingham and Plymouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Plymouth accent is failing you there, Graham. Birmingham, you almost nailed, but Plymouth, not so much.
No, I don't have the Plymouth. No, my grandfather was in the naval. He was a naval officer.
Right.
But, speaking of Birmingham, Villa's doing quite well. They're playing Arsenal tomorrow. That'll be a good match.
Well, maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out depending on which position it is in Match of the Day, which I guess is something you don't know anything about, being as how you don't watch the BBC.
I do. I'm on. I watch that all the time.
Right. I'm just upset for Crystal Palace. Why does Crystal Palace always have to be the last team, regardless of who they're playing? They're always last on. I think that there's some sort of long-running joke at Match of the Day.
When my father played the Pools, the Crystal Palace is like in the third division.
Yeah.
He used to listen to the shortwave radio to get the scores.
Well, I remember the scores: 4-5, 5-4, or something like that. I was waiting for the Scottish results. They took forever. I mean, like about 15 minutes of some bloke just droning on about Arsenal 1, Manchester United 2.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, completely correct in every respect. All right, thanks a lot, Graham. 0345 6060 973. And he always got the intonation right. A note of disappointment on the 1 and a note of elation on the 2.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
Thanks, Nige. You're the best. This question says, if Stevie Wonder is blind, why does he sit courtside at basketball games? Does he? Well, I don't know. That's just where they seat stars. But if I was given those seats, I think I would want to swap them for some seats that are further back. Because, I mean, the people who play basketball are absolutely colossal. You wouldn't want to have one of them landing on you, as is entirely possible if you're in the front row. No, I'd want to sit way back, like in a different building maybe, watching a different sport, perhaps. You know, one that's more interesting. 0345 6060 973. York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. You were talking about Ryan O'Neill?
Oh, yes.
His daughter was Tatum.
Tatum O'Neill, that is right, yeah. Tatum O'Neill. Mm-hmm.
Married to John McEnroe at one time.
Who? Ryan O'Neill?
No, Tatum O'Neill.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what I rang up about, the UK debt, nearly 3 trillion, isn't it?
Like 2.4 or something like that, but, you know, let's not get bogged down in a couple of £1 billion here and there.
And apparently it grows by 5,000 a second.
Wow.
We've sent 240 million to Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
Another 50 million next year.
Yes.
We sent all that money to France.
Yeah.
Spent all that money on hotels and barges.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. It doesn't sound right, does it? I mean, if you owe all that money, how can you spend all that money?
Well, if you owed all that money, Jan, you would not be able to spend all that money because you would be in jail right now.
Well, exactly. If you ran a business like that, you would be in dire straits, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would. But this isn't a business, it's a country, which is completely different.
You know, I don't get... Who do we owe that money to, anyway?
Jeff.
Oh, right. And who's Jeff?
Jeff. Very, very well connected, and he's got so much money you wouldn't believe it.
All right.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I just don't get it at all. It's stupid, I think.
Yeah, well, the whole world's gone crazy. Don't forget that.
I know.
And how many zeros is 2.4 trillion, by the way? If you have to write that down on a piece of paper, how would you do it? It would be 24...
A trillion is 12 zeros.
Is it?
I looked it up this afternoon, yeah.
Oh, so 2.4 is like 12... Is 2...
2400.
Yes.
And then another 9 zeros.
000. 000. 000.
Mm-hmm.
000.
Yep.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah. Does it look right?
No. It looks like there's a couple of 3 too many zeros to me.
No, it's right.
Yeah, I think we should knock off a couple of zeros there, Jan. Let's just do it.
No, I don't think so.
So, are you concerned about the UK debt?
I am, really. It just sounds completely stupid. Unless I'm sick, you know.
Well, are you an economist?
No, I'm not.
No, right. Well, then, neither am I. But then, you know, what economists know about the world, you could write on the back of a stamp.
I know. Anyway, can I just ask you a completely different question?
No.
Right.
Go on, then.
Have you used your leaf blower yet?
Yes.
And what have you done with your leaves?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Aren't you going to make leaf mould with them?
Oh, no. Why would I want to eat that?
Well, you don't eat it. It's good for your garden.
Oh, that makes more sense, yeah. No.
Put all your leaves in a bin bag.
Yes.
Pierce the bag with a few holes.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in a corner out of sight for about a year.
And then throw it over the garden hedge?
No, throw it all over your garden. It'll do wonders for your soil.
Is that right? Well, that just sounds like manure. No, fertiliser.
But it is sort of a...
Like a fertiliser, right.
It's lovely and crumbly.
Yeah.
It really is lovely.
I doubt it's lovely and crumbly. It sounds like it would more go into like a mush.
No, You'd be surprised.
Well, I am
After about a
surprised.
year, yeah. You try it.
No, I don't think I
Put
will
all
be
your
doing
leaves in a bag.
Yeah. Mhm. I don't think I will be doing that, no.
Why not?
I don't want to, and you can't make me.
Well, you're missing out. It's really good for your garden.
Yeah, I doubt that.
It's true.
But what about you could get bags of, proper dirt from a proper dirt monger and
Yeah,
put them on your vegetables then?
Yeah, but this way you're saving money. And you're using all your leaves up. You're not... What are you going to do with your leaves? Are you going to throw them away?
Yeah.
Well, that's wrong.
Nature throws its leaves away every year. How can it be wrong?
You look leaf mould up. You'll see it's really good for your garden.
Right, that sounds like homework, so that's right out. No. It's a big no from me, Jan. But thanks for the good suggestion. All right. Cheers, my dear. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. We really are covering all of the issues on this programme. We're talking about the national debt and leaf mould. If you are keeping track. Sue says, before you start, lay off Susan Hall. She says, it's a disgrace how this society victim shames people for dropping their Oyster cards and accusing Sadiq Khan. She's doing her best, says Sue. Yeah, that interview with Nick Ferrari, it's still available on the World Wide Wait. I do believe that you should look that up straight away, if not sooner. Do you get the feeling that the Conservatives have just, run out of people? They just can't find the people anymore. Naomi says, I went onto the line to British Gas this morning and I was told I was number 334 for a reply. Wow. 334th in the queue? Blimey. Gas will run out by the time they get back to you. And Andy says, Apollo 11 cost $350 million and sent 3 people to the moon. We have spent more than that and only sent 3 Home Secretaries to Africa. No wonder we couldn't get HS2 past the Midlands, says Andy. I think it would have been more beneficial to this nation to have sent 3 Home Secretaries to the moon. Hands up who's with me. Now hands up who isn't. Wow, that's overwhelming. Blimey, say how you feel, why don't you?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Yes, there's nothing funny left to be amused by. Including this. David texts, only those earning over £38,000 a year are now allowed to fall in love. Correct. God, what a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Wayne texts, here in New Zealand there are a few companies who do call you back if they are too busy, helping other callers to talk to me. What? Here in New Zealand there are a few companies who do call you back if they are too busy helping other callers to talk to me. Right, okay, get it. And we are shortly visiting the UK, which means that if we want to listen live, we will have to stay awake rather than listening at the more convenient time of Saturday morning. I appreciate this does not concern you at all. No. No, it doesn't. But you should be aware that there is a podcast of the Friday and Saturday night shows. It's, it's put up the internet almost as soon as the show is finished. The Friday and Saturday night shows get stuck up the internet as a podcast. Now, we take the news and most of the ads out, mostly, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. And with the money you save, you'll be able to put it in the kitty to see if you can earn over £38,000 a year and are allowed to fall in love. Glasgow. Hello, Frankie.
How are we doing, Nick? You right, pal?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Before you start, it's been raining for 2 days and it's still lashing in there, so...
Yeah. You're not going to get dry anytime soon.
how it's happening. I take it you're going to be the merchant of doom and gloom again.
Yeah, well,
what's the forecast?
Well,
for
it's raining and raining and raining and raining and raining and raining. Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah. I was down in London, and my mate, I could do it to my pal, he lives in Bethnal Green, and he says, look, rather than just going on the lash, it was a Friday, we went to Covent Garden and done a wee tour thing in Thames and Soho, and then I went to Leicester Square, and then I went up and I never seen you, and I was in pubs asking for you. I was like, and they seen the great man, I'm wanting to buy him a pint. Mm-hmm. They were like, no, he's not been in yet, mate, he's not on to 10 o'clock. So
that's
I was really disappointed. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it was about gonorrhea. I was listening to the podcast, remember? No, the Nick Abbot Habit. It was Monday you put it all.
Yes, the Nick Abbot habit did touch on, and I'm sorry to use that phrase, it touched on gonorrhea.
Disgusting.
Yes, it did, yeah.
I was eating my dinner and I just went, I'll put that on. I always catch up, and I was like, Jesus wept.
Yes.
But never, ever trust anybody that... See, if you meet somebody, if you meet a girl or a man or whatever, what's your boat, never, ever trust anybody that can spell gonorrhea.
Can spell gonorrhea. Correct, Amundo. That's right. That is a red flag.
Warning.
Yeah.
It's up there. It's up there. And what else was going? Oh, the Bill Jonathan was on tormenting poor Tom Swarbrick yesterday. It was hilarious.
Who?
The Donald.
The Donald Trump was tormenting
Tom Swarbrick. No, the Jonathan, the boy that didn't vote for the Donald, and he likes the Brexit, and he likes the Boris.
Right, that guy. Right.
And he was on, and Tom's and that. As soon as he came on, I burst out laughing. I was sitting with my mate, and I says, "Listen to this, listen to that." He always phones Nick, and he's superb. And Tom didn't have a clue, and God bless the guy. He was just like, I don't even know what you're talking about, and he was banging on the way he did, and he went, I didn't vote for the Brexit, and I didn't vote for but I voted for the Boris, and he was like, I don't have a clue.
But you know what, Frankie, we shouldn't encourage him though, eh? That's right.
Superb.
Yeah. All right, okay. And what did you think about London? Couldn't wait to get out of it.
No, I love the East End. The East End's brilliant. It's too dear, but in the central. But East End, you can get a pint for under £4 in the East End, so it's not bad, isn't it?
A pint? A pint of what?
Pint of water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, in the East End you can get a pint for about $3.80 or something, so it's not bad.
Good grief. Where in Bethnal Green, right?
Bethnal Green.
Is that Bethnal Green in the 1980s that you were drinking?
Maybe I was in a TARDIS.
I find that hard to believe.
No, there's a cracking wee boozer of Shakespeare. You get a cracking pint in there for about $3.50 during the day, and then at night Elvis act comes on, so it goes up to $3.80. And you kind of go down, Nick. You know,
an Elvis impersonator comes on, and they charge you more to sit there and listen to it.
An extra 30 pence because you've got to pay for the boy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Frankie. Keep us updated. 0345 6060 973. Becca texts, Glasgow is definitely listening. Thanks for the rubbish weather forecast. I was enjoying my evening up to that point. I was watching Johnson at the COVID inquiry and Sunak's Tetchy Rwanda Q&A. I'm wondering who was going to pop an... and I was wondering who was going to pop an eye first. Oh. Their blood pressures must have been through the roof. A joy to behold, says Becca. Yeah, it was. A little light grilling. I mean, he's not going to be discombobulated too much. He's just going to, it's just going to sour his evening. That's all. Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I mean, it's not going to put a kink in your earning potential, is it? Rose texts, if Stevie Wonder is blind, why does he sit courtside at basketball games? What? I think there's some editing needs done here. Rose did not text anything of the sort. She did, in fact, text, I've done homework. Regarding your discussion last week of fervent and fervid, I think caller Ellie meant to suggest torrid, not turgid, as an alternative. In my shorter Oxford dictionary, fervent means ardent and intensely earnest when applied to people, and fervid means impassioned. The word torrid, however, goes further. Hot in passion, ardent, e.g. torrid joy, it says.
Presumably a torrid affair could be just another example. Is that too dull? Yes. Yes. Yes, it is, Rose. God, I wish you'd asked that right at the beginning. Then I wouldn't have wasted 5 minutes. Way too dull. Let's have... another caller in Glasgow. Can you believe that? Anne.
Hello, Nick.
Anne.
Are you well?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good. I'm a bit nervous because I don't normally phone you in.
Well, would it help if I shouted at you? Get on with it.
I'm a massive fan. I've been listening to you for 15 years.
Wow.
On all your podcasts.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you. But tonight...
But
tonight, you've let me down.
Oh, no. What have I done now?
Well, I'm exactly the same age as you, Nick.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the 70s, and with most of your music, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
70s was the best era for music.
Correct.
But when the gentleman that was on much earlier in the evening,
yeah,
and he wanted to talk about harmonicas, and you said the best man who plays the harmonica is Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder is the right answer. Yes.
No, it's the wrong answer.
Go on.
Billy Joel.
Billy
Piano
Joel?
Man.
No.
Yes.
I'm saying no.
No.
No, it's a no from me. Plus, he's not really known for playing the harmonica. I mean, I'm not even sure that Billy Joel played the harmonica on that track.
He does.
Did he? Okay, then.
Yes. And at the live concerts, he has a special thing made that sits at the back of his neck so he can play the harmonica and play the piano at the same time.
Oh, like that thing
I'm a massive fan of Billy Joel.
Right, that thing that Bob Dylan used to wear.
Exactly.
It's like some sort of dental device to keep
Yeah. Massive brace.
Get your teeth in, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but Billy Joel, I'm a massive fan.
Yeah.
So please don't let me down because I love you, Nick. Don't say he's bad.
I know. I have enormous respect for Billy Joel. He might not be a very nice person, and I'm only taking that from a documentary about him when he didn't. It made it appear as though he didn't treat his band very well.
That's not true, Nick. That's not true.
Well, I'm glad to hear that's not true, Anne, because otherwise it would have compromised my ability to enjoy his music.
Because I've seen a recent documentary.
Yes.
And the band that he's with just now, he's had for over 20 years. And through COVID, he'd paid them all their wages, and he's very good. And he keeps 2 front row seats empty at his concerts, and then he sends his people out and he goes round to the cheaper seats and he upgrades people who can't afford front seats, and those people get the front seats. So he is a nice man.
Well, I certainly am glad to have been put straight on that issue, Anne.
Thanks for keeping us cheery.
All right, thanks a lot, Anne. She has all the facts at her fingertips about that whole Billy Joel issue. Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of Billy Joel. Bottle of red, sing. Bottle of white. That sounds like an alcohol problem to me, doesn't it? A bottle of red and a bottle of white? Really? For lunch? Lawrence texts, the media keep referring to David Cameron as David Now Lord Cameron. I'm thinking to change my middle name to Now Lord. That's a good idea. And I will insist on people saying my full name, like Ian, middle name Smith. And I'll put in after the Lord. What do you think? I think that's a great idea, Lawrence, and you get your 2 thumbs up from me. Tricia says, Tatum O'Neill in Paper Moon and Jodie Foster in Taxi Driver with Sybil Shepherd, who I think may have been in the last picture show with Jeff Bridges. Wow, we tied it up like a present with a bow on top. Yeah, that's right. That sounds about right to me. Tatum O'Neill was in Paper Moon. Jodie Foster was in Taxi Driver. Was Sybil Shepherd in Taxi Driver?
Was Sybil Shepherd in Taxi Driver? I don't think so. But Sybil Shepherd was in The Last Picture Show with Jeff Bridges. Now, none of this has anything to do with anything that we've been talking about, other than that we were talking about these exact people. Other than that, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. What is this message? This thing?
You wanted a picture of the neck brace that Billy Joel wore. I've also just checked, and Sybil Shepherd was in Taxi Driver.
Sybil Shepherd was in Taxi Driver, exactly as I just said. If you rewind the tape, I think you'll find that I was completely correct in every respect. 034, being right all the time about everything is it's a weight that I carry with me, because one of these days it's possible that I might be wrong about something. So far, it hasn't happened.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we're doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, we are at episode 196. That's coming out on Monday. We've already recorded it, and we have something of an announcement to make at some point in the not-too-distant future. But we'll do another taping on Thursday, I think it is. So if you want us to have a bash at your issue, then there is an email address that you must send it to. nickandcarol@global.com. nickandcarol@global.com. And prepare for total satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Episode 196 coming out, what day is it? Friday. So Monday. 196 coming out on the Monday. We'll take a brief break over Christmas and then we'll be back in the new year. But there's a couple more to go before we collapse in a heap. What's your problem with Nick and Carol is what that's called. And we appreciate your cooperation. Heston, Isaac.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Two quick things, before I go to bed and fall asleep. I wasn't going to phone you this evening, but I thought something made me phone.
Right.
First thing, Sybil Shepherd, she was also in Moonlighting.
That's right, with, what's his name?
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, correctamundo. Yeah.
That's right, yeah, Bruce Willis.
And it was a bit like, it had the sort of, the sort of sexual tension, if I can use that phrase, as Body Heat. You remember Body Heat with, what's her name?
No, I don't, but I'm glad you mentioned it, because I will look it up.
Yes,
Body Heat.
It's a superb film. It really is. It's excellent.
Body Heat, yeah, because I'm actually trying to write romantic fiction, so let's have a look. Hang on. B-O-D, Body Heat. Right.
No, Heat, not sheet. Heat.
No, Heat.
Heat.
Oh, no. There it is. Body Heat, 1981 film, yeah, right. Okay. Excellent. Now, the William Hurt, Kathleen, Nikki, Richard. Okay, right. The
Kathleen Turner. That's right, Kathleen Turner. She was the voice of the busty siren in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. She was now don't tell me. Jessica, I think I got that right. Yeah, Jessica.
That's right, Jessica. That's right. Yeah, the cartoon character.
Correct.
Anyway, the main reason I phoned, the lady previous caller talked about the 2.4 trillion UK debt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, what I've been doing in my time, because I'm retired now, my mid-60s.
Yeah, you got a lot of time to kill. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'm enjoying my time. And what I'm doing is I'm studying something I never studied at school because they never taught it at school, and that is
maths.
And that is where, yeah, I know, yeah, well, that is where money comes from.
Oh,
okay, yeah, where now we learn at school, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember taking the a class in 1972,
yeah,
right, okay, of where babies come from. I learned that back in 72.
Is it the same thing?
No. I wish it was. No. But what I've been studying is on YouTube is where money comes from.
The hole in the wall. The cash machine is where the money comes from.
Yeah, know what I'm saying?
You just wave your plastic card at it, like Rishi Sunak would, and then magically it out pops bills.
You know what I mean? Well, I said it. I put the same question to my carer this afternoon, and she said the bank.
The bank.
And I thought,
that's
okay,
right.
fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, I've been studying it, and I'm telling you, I am finding it fascinating. You know,
boring. Really, really
dull.
Yeah.
Okay.
Economics.
All right. Okay. Let me cut to the chase quickly before I give you any more details.
And in closing,
basically, money today is generated out of thin air.
Yes, it's magicked out of nothing, like a trick of prestidigitation. Prestidigitation.
Exactly. It's no longer backed by anything like gold, silver, or anything like that. You know, stuff, because that was and also, what's the other thing? It was only out of all the money in circulation, only 3%. Was it 3% is actual
real
money?
Yeah. So don't ask for your money.
Yeah.
Don't go to the bank and ask for your money back, because they don't keep it in a separate box with your name on.
No, they loan it out.
It all gets chucked into a giant hole in the ground, and they set fire to it. So it's not there anymore. It's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, let me finish off quickly.
Yes.
Finally, right, I'm looking at I'm looking at YouTube on my TV screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got YouTube on telly as well as on my computer.
Right.
And it says where money comes from. And the videos I'm looking at says BBC documentary, Where Money Comes From. Where money comes from, there's some politician in Canada. There's a 5-minute YouTube, which is brilliant. You know,
completely wasting your time there, Isaac. You want to look up AC/DC at River Plate on YouTube, and you can thank me later. No, wait, I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Okay, I'll thank you now.
All right, there you go. Another satisfied customer. Yeah, where money comes from, nobody really knows. Any idea, Smug?
I don't know anything.
No, I do believe that he doesn't know anything about it. Doesn't know anything about it. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yes, great. Thanks for asking.
Okay. You know, all the rednecks that are complaining about hospital appointments and
the rednecks?
Yeah.
That's offensive.
Yeah. No, it isn't. The ones that keep on saying it's because of all the immigrants, yeah?
Oh, those ones.
Okay. Yeah. Don't they actually understand that there's less doctors than there was 14 years ago? There's less nurses than 14 years ago, so if there's less, you're going to have more waiting lists, aren't you?
All of the people that they want to leave are busy making this country tick.
Yeah, right. That's one. And then this, you know, I watched bits of Boris Johnson, yeah. You know, he's up in front of these intelligent people, yeah? Okay, the people who are asking him the question.
Mm-hmm.
He's going, yes, Mr. Keith, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
You know,
sure he is.
Are you a donkey, mate? You know, you're having your life turned upside down about the mistakes or stupidity you've done, and you're trying to patronise the person that's interviewing you. And I just thought, you know, how stupid are you, mate? Okay, yes, you know, I agree with you. He's messed up his head deliberately.
All he's got to do is just sit there and suffer it for a while, and then he can just skip lightly away and spend the rest of his life buried up to his eyeballs in money.
Yeah, doing what he wants, yeah. And you know, like now, this thing, it's got, you know, this salting of the earth that they're doing, right?
Oh, putting sand in the petrol tank so that the next owner can't drive it.
Yeah.
The economy.
And to be honest, I think, forget their egos. They should just call a general election now, right, and stop it.
Well,
because
the polling is not improving for them. It's actually getting worse. So they're going to wait till the last possible moment, I expect, unless they just resign themselves to losing and sitting complaining from the wings for 4 or 5 years until the election after next.
Okay. And the other thing, when Jeremy Hunt was Health Secretary, he was turning around and saying, well, junior doctors, right, should be working for £22,000 a year. Okay? He says, I'm quite happy to pay them that. And now the government's saying that when an overseas care worker is going to come over here to wipe sick people's bottoms, they've got to, you know what I mean. That's the phrase everybody uses, right? To look after sick people.
I don't think it is what they use. I think that's just you.
Yeah, okay. They're going to pay. They're going to be able to earn a minimum of £38,000.
Yeah, which means that we won't have any foreign carers, which means that no old people who aren't millionaires are going to be taken care of in this country anymore.
Yeah. So, the qualification for £22,000 a year is a doctor, a junior doctor. Right?
I thought it was more than. I thought it was a bit more than that, but let's not.
That was a long time ago, but now he's probably saying something like 25,000.
Yeah, but it ain't 38,000. No, so we want rid of those people as well.
So if you look at the monetary value of the qualifications and how much you earn, so somebody earning 38,700 is probably going to be a surgeon, aren't they?
They earn a bit more than that. Surgeons do, if we put that limit on foreign workers coming here, they have to earn 38 grand. Then there goes the NHS. Nice knowing you. Gotta go, Ranjit. 0345 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Ashling texts, if you would like a laugh while on hold, call the Royal Mail. The speaker sounds exactly like Mrs. Bouquet off the telly, but don't expect to get through to anyone, but it is quite comical. I think it was pre-recorded in the 1960s. Well, it sounds like this.
Oh, hello.
Your call is important to us. Rachel says, still talking music and glad to finally hear a bit of redress. It was all getting a bit rock and rolly on the Nick Abbott show.
Rock and roll!
So I'm not sure if you're a soul man or indeed a man with a soul. But should you be tempted to step off your silver platforms for a moment, might I be so bold as to suggest a bit of Roberta Flack, Luther Vandross, Peebo Bryson, Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder, says Rachel, as though she's just uncovered these artists that nobody else has heard of. Yeah, I know. 0345 6060 973. A Glasgow heavy show this evening from that place. Chrissy, hello.
Oh, hi, Nick. I had to laugh at Chris at the beginning of the show saying, where are the Glaswegians? I'm assuming he was being sarcastic because there are quite a few of us. Yeah,
quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, Chris. We all come up at once. So shout out to all the Ouijas out there.
Yeah. All the Neds and Numpties. Aye.
What was happening with the AI. Remember I had said to you a few weeks back that I'd got Alexa and, the smart speaker thing how I was actually thanking it because I was kind of scared that she was going to kill me.
Yes.
Well, since then, I've been buying more gadgets to kind of expand. I was getting a bit smug and I thought, oh yes, I'm liking this, set the alarm, do this, announce this for dinner, and I thought, yeah, I'm getting kind of cool with this. So I've got a list here, I bought smart light bulbs, and I bought a smart panel heater, a smart TV, a smart plugs. Okay, so the house is smarter than me by a long chalk.
Yeah.
And everything's beeping, flashing, vibrating.
Yeah.
It's pairing. I just want to wear a loincloth and get a flint and light a fire.
Well, you'll have to do
not
that,
want
Chrissy.
this anymore.
Chrissy, you will have to do that. Get a loincloth, a flint, and light a fire. If the internet goes down, that's the problem with all of those connected things. Is they rely on your Wi-Fi.
That's true. But because when I put the smart light bulb into the it flashes until you pair it. So
Yes.
you can't even use it like an analog, for the want of a better word, a typical light bulb.
Right, a normal light bulb.
It has to be paired.
Yeah.
And the plugs.
It flashes on and off like you're at a disco. Yeah, are you dancing?
Yeah. And you're asking. And the plug the plug has like one button. It took me 2 hours to figure it out. It's got one button and I still had trouble. So it's
My
terrifying me.
advice is to never read the just throw the instructions away and see if you can just figure it out. That's my advice.
That's what I do tend to do, and that's maybe why it took me 2 hours. I don't know.
2 hours to turn your light on. Yeah, what a great step forward in technology that is.
Exactly. The Tom Purscliffe guy that's just been interviewed, the Nick Ferrari did an interview with him. He's now the immigration.
The legal migration minister, yes.
Oh, is it? Oh, right, okay. And honestly, just now it's like swipe left for a new minister, swipe right.
I know. Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, it's a bit like, do you remember when we were kids, that show, Mr. Ben? And it was the cartoon show, and there was the little guy with the bowler hat, and he would go into a dressing room, and he would change into an outfit and come out as somebody different. That is what this is like. Downing Street's like a kind of changing room for all the Mr. Bens.
He would come out
in
having
there.
transitioned, yeah. It was very, very ahead of its time.
Well, a bit like Crystal Tips and Alistair, if you remember.
Well,
that
let's not get into that.
Disgusting.
No.
Crystal what? Thanks a lot, Chrissy. 0345 6060 973. That Alistair, he didn't know a good thing when he had it. Rach text, do you think we will ever see an honest financial breakdown of costs for Rwanda? Well, let me think about that.
No.
No, if they say it's 290 million, then it's probably 590 million. Anyway, do you think we will see an honest financial breakdown of the cost for Rwanda? Or are the Tories on their last filch of our tax money before they get kicked out? It seems like a very deep money pit to me. All unaccounted for, maybe, says Rach. Yeah, that's right. And they've all got away with it, too. All of them. Ain't none of them going to jail. They will instead go to the House of Lords. You know that's true. Sanjay said, I.C. Johnson showed how sympathetic he was to the families of the COVID inquiry by turning up 3 hours early so he could avoid being confronted by protesters. And I noticed some people called LBC saying they need to leave him alone. He was doing his best. You are kidding me. No, you are kidding me. That didn't happen, did it? I mean, it happened when he was the Prime Minister. Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister of this country. Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah, it's true. And just when you thought it couldn't possibly get any worse, it did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. People weren't calling in this station during his testimony and saying, leave him alone, he's doing his best. They can't have been. You must be joking about that. Please tell me you're joking. Albert says, a lot of basketball players are over 6 feet 10 inches. 1 or 2 are over 7 foot. Why don't they make the basket higher? Yeah. It drives me up the wall when they just place the ball in the net. The whole game's a farce, says Albert. That's a good point. It's like an arms race. They put the basket way high and then they invent people who are as tall as to be able to just place it in the basket. There should be some sort of height restriction of basketball players, and then they could put the basket, nearer the floor. Why isn't anybody doing anything about this? Do I have to do everything myself? Hampshire. Hello, James.
Hello, Nick.
James.
I was thinking about you talking about Rwanda a minute ago, and this new law that Fishy's trying to bring in to make them all nice and safe and cosy. It seems that they're very, very happy to take all our money, but as soon as there's a sniff of Britain actually trying to pass a law to send people there, they don't like it. So are they just happy to keep on taking our cash?
Are you talking about Rwanda?
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure they're absolutely delighted.
What they've said is that, we don't know about this. If you're going to be breaking international law, we're not going to be party to this.
Well, why would they?
So they'll happily take our cash, but as soon as we start sending people there, they're not going to be happy at all.
Well, I don't think you're going to be happy, I suspect, John, because as soon as we start sending people there, they can start sending their people here.
Wow, indeed. Anyway, that's all I wanted to observe.
Well, it sounds like you observed it. Thanks a lot, James. Yeah, I'm sure the Rwandans are absolutely delighted with how it's going. I mean, we've given them 300 million quid, there or thereabouts, and they've had to give us precisely nothing in return. I bet they wake up laughing. God, we are the biggest mugs in history, aren't we? What's extraordinary is that these... I was thinking this coming in. I was thinking this coming in as I was listening to Esther McVeigh.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I thought, growing up, you were led to believe that politicians were the best of us, that they were smarter than we are, that they knew more than we did, that we should put our future in their hands and feel confident that they would do well by us. What the hell happened to that? Now it's just a parade of inadequates. Isn't that right, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Yes.
Yes,
inadequates. It's just one inadequate after the next. Which is probably why they recycle them so much. One day they'll be the defence minister, and then they'll be in charge of health. And then they'll be in charge of pouring sewage into rivers. And that last one they're doing really well at. I mean, they've just gone above and beyond, haven't they? Excellent work. And they barely stay in a position long enough to get the blame for anything. Maybe that's why they change them around so much, like musical blooming chairs over there. And one of them will leave. They'll sign a letter of resignation in a giant strop and harumph off in a huff. And we won't notice the difference. They'll replace them with some other inadequate that we've never heard of, and things will remain precisely the same. It's just extraordinary that this is where we are now in this country. I mean, the last serious Prime Minister we had was Gordon Bloomin' Brown. He was the last serious Prime Minister we had in this country. And when you hear people like Gordon Brown or John Major or people like that talking these days, you think, wow, that's so unlike a modern politician. They're serious people who say serious things. God, message coming in from next door. Theresa May. Rubbish but serious. Yeah, I suppose, well, no. Yeah, all right, she was serious, but keep your opinions to yourself. Get your own blooming show. Can you believe that? I'm getting heckled from next door. I am stunned. 0345 6060 973. He's saying sorry. Is that one of those Boris Johnson apologies? Or Michael Gove.
A major capital letters, big news story.
Yeah, like a Michael Gove apology. That would be a major capital letters, big news story. One that you could believe. Another Glasgow. Stephen.
Hi there, Nick. Hello. It seems you're very popular in Glasgow tonight.
I am huge up north.
Yes, you certainly are. And you keep me entertained every Friday and Saturday night, so
well,
I must say that.
Appreciate it.
I definitely must say that. And I was not very political. I'm 42 years old.
42 years old?
Yep. Thank you very much. I was not very political up until about 4 or 5 years ago, until I saw the LBC sign on the side of a Glasgow bus.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, right, I'm going to listen to this.
Yeah, you thought that's a bus I can believe in.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but as much as I love the Friday and Saturday night being a wee bit more chilled, but I've got to talk a wee bit of politics, and I have to slag off Mr. Starmer.
Right, so what's he done that has disturbed you so?
But it's... Naturally, I'm a left-wing. Naturally, I would be a Labour voter, but I swayed towards SNP for a few years there. And I was verging on going back to Labour and being a unionist again. But his support of Mrs Thatcher, I can't be having it.
That's a line beyond which you will not go.
No, I'm swaying back towards independence, if I'm being brutally honest.
Can I just say, in his defence, he has now rowed back on that whole I love Margaret Thatcher issue. Now, he didn't say that I love Margaret Thatcher. He said that she was... Go on.
Sorry, Nick, but as Boris called him, and I hate Boris, I hate him with all my heart, but as Boris called him Mr. U-turn, that's who he is. Wow. That's all Keir Starmer has done.
Yeah, but if Boris Johnson U-turned anymore, he'd screw himself into the ground. I mean,
I know that. I know he's just a numpty.
But it's just a numpty. Yeah. Well, I was thinking, is he a Ned or is he a numpty? And I think you're right. He is a numpty. Yeah. No, Keir Starmer. Hang on a minute. Keir Starmer has condemned Margaret Thatcher for doing terrible things, just days after praising him for, quotes, setting loose Britain's natural entrepreneurialism, which was a stupid thing to say. I don't believe that she did anything of the sort. Where is the evidence that Margaret Thatcher set loose Britain's natural entrepreneurialism?
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Right. And can I also say, if Mr. Starmer's saying that, why is he even writing a column in the Tory Graph?
In the Telegraph. Well, now, I do think that you should try to talk to the people that are not already in your camp. So if he'd written an article in the Guardian or the Mirror, he'd be talking to people that agree with him already. So I think there is value in going to the other side to try and...
will he lose all his own voters?
Say it again?
Will he not lose all his own voters?
No,
I
don't believe so, because his own voters don't read the Daily Telegraph. So they would only have heard him say that thing about Margaret Thatcher, which he then cleared up by saying... he was asked by an audience at the Scottish Labour Gala if he was a fan of Thatcher, and he said, no, absolutely not. She did terrible things, particularly here in Scotland, which everybody in this room, myself included, profoundly disagrees with. So that's rowed back quite some way, don't you think?
I'm a wee bit flummoxed. All I can say is, no matter what, Nick, I just want a left-wing government, whether it be UK level, whether it be Scottish level. I just want a left-wing government because I'm fed up with these Tories.
You're fed up to the back teeth. I get it. All right, thanks a lot, Stephen. Not too long to go yet. Now.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Mind telling me what this is all about?
Yes, certainly, madam. Your call is important to us. 0345 6060 973. Eve texts, can somebody please tell Richie it's the economy, stupid? He seems to think there is a huge cohort of people who will be voting about dinghies. There really isn't. Has he not realised this? Yes, I'm sure he knows it in his bone. But unfortunately, he can't go to the country on his reputation as far as the economy is concerned, because the economy is in the toilet. So he can't point to the economy and say, look what a great job I've done, because he hasn't. The only thing he's got is to crow about the rate of inflation going down and telling us it's a tax cut. He really just think we're idiots. Inflation going down doesn't mean to say that prices are going down. They're still going up, but just less quickly, but from an increased base. And he didn't have anything to do with the inflation rate going down. He just stood around, waited for it to happen, and then leapt into the spotlight and claimed credit for it. He might as well take credit for Arsenal's current form. He didn't have anything to do with that either. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, he was also, Rishi Sunak, also completely responsible for Alejandro Garnacho's overhead kick the other day. He intervened personally. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I am stunned. I mean, it's just a bad comedy show, this country, now. It has been for a while. Can't remember when it started.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There, that's right. Woking. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Nick.
Jeff.
Nick, that lady was right. It is absolutely dreadful, you know. I mean, following the resignation of honest, moderate Bob Jenrick, I'm trying to make head and tail of the government's immigration policy. Now, the thing is, if they can't reduce legal visa-waiving immigrants, for which they claim to have complete control,
yes,
how can they possibly reduce illegal immigrants, for which they clearly have no control?
Right. And either way, why are they concentrating on the number that is 3% of the people that are actually coming here? The people who can come on small boats is about 3% of all of those who come here.
That's right, Nick. I mean, the thing is, he keeps banging on about the small boats. Well, they've really no idea how many people are turning up on the beaches. I mean, Nigel Farage may be out there with his counting sticks and monitors, but there's people all around the country, all around the coast, all various means coming into the country, back of lorries and, all the rest of it. They've got absolutely no idea, Nick.
Well, they do have an idea about 97%, because that's the number of people that they have allowed in the country legally. It's the 27,000 that they're concentrating on in the hope that we won't notice the other 97%.
Exactly. Now, on LBC Today, they were discussing Anthony Eden's Suez crisis, and they made comparisons with Rishi Sunak's sewerage crisis. But
really?
He said he's going to make it priority number 2.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah, well, I was very sorry to hear that Denny Lane had passed away.
Oh, yeah.
One of the original Moody Blues, and also a member of Wings, great guitarist and songwriter. I just thought it was very sad that Denny passed away.
Well, we all shuffle off the end of life's conveyor belt eventually, Jeff. If we live long enough, we're all going to die.
Take care, Nick.
Remember that. All right, thanks a lot, Jeff. Did you dump that? I think you did. Got a trigger finger in there. 0345 6060 973. Derek says, my neighbour is autistic. He is a major fan of your show. Over a period of time, he has recorded all of your sound effects. Last night, he Bluetoothed it to his subwoofer and was playing Donald Trump for an hour. Right. Well, I wouldn't recommend that. I think a neighbour may raise a finger of complaint. Eve says, no, read that one. Gary says, Bob Dylan is the best harmonica player of all time. I don't care if he isn't. It's still a fact. Well, that's a good point, Gary. Even if it's not true, it doesn't prevent it from being a fact. That's just the truth. 0345 6060 973. Now, let's see who's been waiting the longest. Be totally fair about this. It looks to me like New Malden. Ahmed.
Oh, hi, Nick. Yes. It looks like we can't stop talking about this Rwanda asylum agreement and so on. I think the only reason, is Rishi Sunak and the gang are pursuing this is so they can get free trips to Rwanda. I mean, so far, these are the only 3 foreign secretaries who've been out there, and some of their maybe juniors possibly.
Well, you know what? I'm suspecting a conspiracy here. I'm going to look up the weather in Rwanda.
Oh. You're not thinking of going there.
No, I most certainly am not. So
Well,
there's no Rwanda, so it would be Kigali?
Kigali, yeah.
Kigali, Rwanda. Let's have a look.
What's it?
Wow. Well.
Sun is shining, I guess.
There's a thunderstorm every single day.
Wow.
For 2 weeks straight.
Oh, so the people, well, in fact, there's nobody there who we have sent over yet.
No, there isn't, no.
If there were, they would have to stay indoors all the time.
Yeah, thunder, lightning, very, very frightening.
Oh, dear.
Every day. I've never seen that before. I mean, normally there's a cloud with a lightning flash coming out from underneath it, like, the pictorial image of what it is that the weather is going to do. And I've never seen that in my life. Every day for 2 weeks solid, there's going to be thunder and lightning. Every day.
Wow.
That sounds like God is sending us a message, don't it?
Maybe Sunak and the gang, they are hard of hearing.
I think that Rishi Sunak and his current Home Secretary should go to Rwanda and shelter under an umbrella near a tree.
Well, on a serious note, part of the asylum agreement with Rwanda is UK will take some of the very vulnerable refugees.
Yes.
What?
A similar number, yeah. So
what's that?
We're going to... What's that? That's the small print, Ahmed. That's called the small print. Always read the small print.
This lot simply just can't do anything right or say anything right. Yeah. I'm sorry to say.
Right. I'm going to give Rishi Sunak and his current Home Secretary a large metal pole, and I want them to go to Rwanda and stand in the middle of a field. Can you do that for me? Thanks a lot, Ahmed.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, Lamadoos. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, I am most sorry to keep Emma in Brussels waiting. Hello, Emma.
Hi there, Nick. Hi. I just wanted to tell you a little story which I thought really shines a lot of light on what we're talking about today. So about a year ago now, I was helping out with the Ukrainian refugees as they arrived in Brussels, all a bit scared and not sure what to do with themselves. And they had people like me, ignorant, non-Russian, non-Ukrainian speaking people, but they also had some beautiful Russian speaking people. And as part of that constituent, you had a couple of guys from Burundi. And it was quite interesting. And I was a bit like taken aback initially, thinking, why do you speak Russian? And it turns out that during a time where Burundi and Rwanda were sort of ostracised by the rest of the world, Russia took students in from those countries, educated them in engineering and, all sorts of areas. And so there I was, standing on a platform, literally a train platform, welcoming refugees into Belgium, and as we were waiting, I'm standing there with this guy from Burundi, and it was literally a few days after Priti Patel, I don't know if you remember her, Priti Patel had announced this policy, and I said, I was sort of thinking, I said, what do you think of this? And of course, he speaks English. I mean, he speaks French, English, Russian, all sorts of languages.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
Who doesn't? And he just sort of raised his eyebrows at me and shrugged his shoulders. And, there we were, inviting these white Christian refugees from Ukraine into Europe. And at the same time, our country was just going a bit bonkers. And for me, it was just this wonderful moment of, this is madness,
Glad to be out of it, though, I bet. In, 3,000-4,000 miles away in Brussels, in Belgium.
Only a couple
wherever that is, yeah.
Well, a couple of hundred miles away, but don't forget, and this is a real sad thing, that this is a sad thing.
A sad note to end on?
Well, Europe are looking at what the UK are doing, and they're going, let's see.
I think that they're going... I don't think they're going, ooh, at all. I think they are delighting in our failure. But anyway, thanks a lot, Emma. Carl says, Tom says, the guy who used to read the football scores out with perfect intonation was Gordon Honeycomb. Really? I thought Gordon Honeycomb was a newsreader. Somebody used to sit there for like about 5-10 minutes. It seemed like it went on forever, and they read all of the football scores, including the Scottish ones. 4-4, 4, East 5, 5. Tom texts, it's the same guy. He says, I must apologise. The voice of the football scores was not Gordon Honeycomb. That was dodgy information from my dad. It was, in fact, James Alexander Gordon. Yeah, that sounds more like it. Never listen to your dad. Never listen to your parents, kids. Remember that. 0345 6060 973. Kent. Hello, Nick.
Hi there, Nick. Yeah, love the show.
Thanks.
It's, just on the subject of immigration. Why would it be completely outlandish to think that we could pool our resources with Europe and create some form of safe zone where we could educate and provide people with amenities, with all the money we're wasting, with all these harebrained schemes?
But where?
Well, I mean, logically, I would think Turkey, if we could come to some sort of agreement. I mean, is that completely outlandish?
Well, it seems a bit weird. I mean, to take a problem that is essentially all of ours and then dump it on one country.
But it wouldn't be. It would be a halfway house. So you've got a problem, but it's a way of providing these people with a safe zone while we can educate and make sure they're safe.
But what do you think? Yes, I get that. I understand. Hang on a minute. But what about the people in Turkey? Do you think that they may raise a finger of objection being used as a halfway house?
But obviously it'd be to they'd have to obviously agree. But I mean, with the clout that the whole of Europe could provide in terms of monetary wise, it could benefit both.
Make it worth their while. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing is to make sure that people are safe and educated, and that's the biggest problem, isn't it? Surely.
Well, it's a problem, well, two problems, in fact, but one of the issues is that a lot of these people have families. That's why they want to come either here or to France or Germany or wherever it is that they're heading. They didn't just pick a country at random and think, well, let's just go there for the giggles and the laughs. No. They probably have family here. I mean, and if you didn't speak the language or if it wasn't your first language, then... you'd want some sort of support network. That's why they're coming, I reckon.
Yeah, and actually, what you say about the language, we forget that English is such a widely spoken language that provides... It's one of the big reasons why people...
That's right.
Would come here.
Yeah. It's we are suffering from the success of our own language. Suffering is... some people would suggest that. Yeah, that's right.
It just seems like a huge amount of a waste of money when we could be focusing on the safety and the education of these people. They don't want to be without a home. They want somewhere they can educate their children. And
this is a revolutionary thought. They're just like us. They just want to have a nice life, and they want to fall in love, and they want to have a family, and they want security, and they want comfort, and they want a roof over their heads. You know, they're not a different species. They're just like we are. And the thing is, I mean, if we can't cope with this now, just wait for 10, 15 years when climate change really does start kicking in, and you don't have hundreds of thousands of people on the move. You've got millions, maybe tens of millions of people who find that where they live, they can't live anymore because the rains have come too frequently or not enough, or it's got too hot, or it's too cold, or the lifestyle that we have come to form is dependent very much on the basic reliability of the weather. I mean, if in this country it snowed and we got 10 feet of snow from September through to March, some countries do. But we have our infrastructure is based on that not happening. But if it did, we'd be completely screwed. This country would just stop working, totally, wouldn't it? London is supposed to be running out of water shortly. Thanks to our excellent water companies, the UK is facing a shortfall of 200 million litres of water by 2038. That's equivalent of 1 billion cups of tea. And when that kind of thing happens, when weather becomes not unpredictable, but if it stops being predictable, then, there goes our comfortable lifestyle. And we might be, our lives will be changed, but we might be okay. We'll still be able to go to the supermarket, perhaps. But in third world countries, what are they going to do? They will have the option to either sit down and die where they are or move somewhere else. And guess where somewhere else is? Here. 0345 6060 973. Kevin texts, I like that idea that was just suggested. How about the Isle of Wight? That's a good idea. I mean, it's not being used for anything else important, the Isle of Wight. Excellent idea, that, Kevin. I want you to note that down. Thanks a lot, Nick. Gotta go. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Stoke-on-Trent. Stacey.
Hello.
Stacey.
Hiya, Nick. You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, first time caller.
Excellent.
Not so long listener.
Mm-hmm.
Love your show.
Cheers, my dear.
I just want to chip in with the whole debate about asylum seekers and refugees.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously sad news that 2 pontoon sites are closed this week, Camber Sands and Prestatyn.
Well, I don't know, is it?
Yeah. Well, hang on a minute.
Is it really?
Minute, Nick, it is.
Pontins
it is because
in Prestatyn. You're upset about that, are you?
I was brought up going to Haven, but my point is that could these sites not be used to house refugees?
Well, I think that's exactly what they're being used for, isn't it? I think I may have got this wrong, but I think they were closed for that purpose, aren't they?
Well, there's a lot of hotels in Stoke-on-Trent.
Are there?
That have been hang on, that have been used to house asylum seekers and refugees.
Yeah.
Well,
for the specific, for the specific reason that the government refuses to clear up the list because it wants this problem to continue, thereby allowing it to say that, we're doing our best to solve this problem, but we're unable to because of lefty judges or eco-zealots that are holding us up and blocking the road so we can't get the Boris Johnson's Waffen-Squirter 9000s to hose these people off the streets. Or whatever it might be. It's always some blooming excuse. But they want to keep this going because otherwise what have they got to distract us? Nothing.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
From my point of view, if they house people in these pontoon sites, genuine people that need asylum, that need somewhere to live, would live in Prestatyn or Camber Sands on pontoons, and you'd also be keeping people in work, and people would be able to say, "Well, I'll work and earn my keep."
Right.
I just.
But are you talking about giving them a red coat and having a knobbly knees contest, that kind of work? Oh, she's gone. disappeared like a South American dictator. Disparu. But nice talking to you there, Stacey. 0345 6060 973. John says, wow, following orders, I looked up AC/DC at River Plate. How can a few old men, a drum kit and a couple of guitars have such an effect on that many people? It proves that rock and roll is a form of magic. I almost cried.
Rock and roll!
I tell you what, it's one of the most extraordinary things I have ever seen in my life. If you haven't seen it, it's so worth checking out. It's available on YouTube. It's AC/DC at River Plate in Argentina. I've never seen a crowd act in the way that the crowd acts at that concert. You'll honestly, your jaw will be on the floor. It's absolutely incredible. The effect that AC/DC had on all those kids, because, I mean, they do appear to be kids, like half the age of the band on stage. But the way they react is just, I've never seen anything like it. It's really, really worth watching. AC/DC at River Plate, and you can thank me later. No, wait. I've changed my mind.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
Yes, we are indeed running late. I can't believe where the time has gone, because I wanted to talk about so many things. I guess I'll have to wait till tonight, because I wanted to talk about Starmer and Thatcher. I wanted to talk about Russian interference, and I wanted to talk about military spending. Did you hear about that? Good grief. We're all in great danger.
Warning, warning.
And I wanted to talk about the 5 families.
Absolutely.
This is funny. And the national anthem. Very, very serious issues. And changing the Prime Minister. By which I don't mean that he's had an accident and he needs to be changed. I mean, actually replacing him as Prime Minister. That's what I meant by that. In case you were, concerned. Uxbridge. Hello, Marcus.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Nick.
Marcus.
Yeah, it's Sir Braverman. I mean, she didn't declare links for charity.
What?
She didn't declare her links for charity in Rwanda.
Yeah, she had links to a charity in Rwanda that taught lawyers or some such thing.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, she didn't declare it, but in her defence, I can't believe I'm about to defend Cruella Doberman, but this was a charitable organisation, and she was associated with it before she became an MP, as far as I'm aware.
Yes, that's true, but it's like it's highly suspect. Didn't formally disclose, and
her connections to Rwanda.
Blair was involved with it.
Correct,
and also several people the charity worked with are now key members of President Paul Kagame's government.
Yeah, well, that's easy for you to say.
It wasn't.
No. Yeah, that's right. The thing that we learned from this is that practically everybody that is in charge of this country is a blooming lawyer, which rather sort of breaks the image of lawyers to me, because I would have assumed that a lawyer would be an incredibly bright and well-read and learned person.
Absolutely.
But we find out that that ain't necessarily the case.
No.
But no, you're quite right. She did... I'm not sure that keeping it secret is accurate, but this is new information to us, that she did have a previous connection with Rwanda. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. All right, well spotted there, Marcus. Keep your eyes peeled. Excellent work. 0345 6060 973. Jeremy says, what is the point of Keir Starmer? Has he got anything to offer except more of the same, done a bit more efficiently? Is that what people want? I don't believe it is what people want, no. But it's what people may, in all likelihood, be getting. unless he's just trying to make out that he's not a threat. And then when he gets in, it'll be all, it'll be this country will become a communist state. But I seriously doubt that. And he's cozying up to the City of London, apparently, making it making the money men and women sexist, making them less concerned about the consequence of a Labour administration. Don't worry about it; they love money. Bodmin, Malcolm.
Evening, Nick. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I'd like to come in a moment, if I could, to conservative optimists, or people who are optimistic about Conservatives. But firstly, briefly, Keir Starmer and his Thatcher comment.
Yes.
And I get it. I get he wants to poach Tory voters, but he couldn't have chosen a worse strand, and he's very lucky that the people aren't picking up on it. And it's this. Trade unions, working people, enterprise, business. But you're my age, roughly, and I remember this all started when I was in my 20s, possibly, certainly in my 30s, when throughout Britain, small businesses suddenly became single-person businesses who at one point may have employed 5 people. But suddenly they didn't employ anybody because they simply provided work for those 5 people to become self-employed in.
I'm very confused.
In other words,
yes. In other words, put it another way.
well, all right, even simpler, right?
Yes.
At the moment, there's not much love for 0 hours contracts.
Right.
The 0 hours contracts, they go back a long, long way, and they come from Thatcher's days when people were encouraged to be self-employed. So, for example, my brother-in-law is a builder. He employs his 3 sons. So he would have paid for his sons to have, 4 weeks a year holiday pay. He'd have paid them when they were on sick. But a point came in history, and it was all of this was Thatcher, when my brother-in-law, for example, he wouldn't have to pay his sons the sick pay anymore or holiday pay. He simply said, right, boys, you're now self-employed. I'm going to give you X number of pounds a month or whatever it is a year, and you're going to have to fund your own holidays. And pretty much overnight, the world of being employed in industries like the building industry, Nick, it is absolutely transformed. And there are very, very few firms now in the building industry who have people working for them. They simply have people doing work with them who are self-employed.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
I suppose so. And you're saying that this is a problem?
Well, what I'm saying is when Starmer picks up the strand of Thatcher encouraging entrepreneurism in people, what actually happened was that entrepreneurism wasn't people thinking, I've got a fantastic idea for a business.
Yes, it was just them.
Entrepreneurism, Nick, it was simply everybody saying, how can I not be responsible for anybody anymore so that I can maximise my profit?
Right.
That's what Thatcher's entrepreneurism was all about. Nick.
Right. Well, that's a very interesting point. Yes, because it grated on me that he would mention her in a positive light, and B, that he would say that she set loose Britain's natural entrepreneurialism, which is, and I don't know that we are naturally entrepreneurial. I mean, it used to be said that we were natural shopkeepers. Is that the same thing? I'm not sure.
No, a lot of fantastic things have originated in Britain from entrepreneurs. But I think Starmer has confused his entrepreneurs for his people who want to maximise profit. But on Nick, and finally, look, really quickly, on Tory optimists, you've got people like Tim Montgomery, a Tory optimist. You've got Henry Hill, a Tory optimist. These are all people who are the faces of the Tory party in the media. And it's really striking how so many of them, if not all of them, are now starting to say a May election and a Labour victory. Whereas in past times, those words would never have passed their lips.
No, that's right. They might have thought it, but they certainly wouldn't have said it.
I think the guy is finished, Nick. I think his number is up, and I think he should say to himself, or his wife maybe should say to him, let's pack the bags and let's get on a plane over the Atlantic.
Right. And we'll wish them all...
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Nick.
Missing you
Bye,
already. All right. Good work. Thanks a lot, Malcolm. Yes, that may be true. Thatcher setting loose Britain's natural entrepreneurialism. It wasn't people setting up businesses and so on. They were just getting fired from their job and then being forced to become self-employed, thereby not having any sick leave or sick pay, rather, or holidays, or, all of the things that they used to enjoy. Yeah, that sounds more like Margaret Thatcher to me. And, of course, those of a certain age, you don't pronounce it Margaret Thatcher, you pronounce it Margaret Thatcher. It's the law. Speaking of which, John says, Nick, I think you will find either is pronounced either. Yeah, that's one of those things that doesn't really work written down, John. But better luck next time. 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 But better